Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. We've seen enough turnover in the Browns front office and in the coaching staff to know a little bit how these things work. New coaches and GMs look at their inherited rosters and they say, you know, I know some guys that I worked with before and they're available and they're better than what we have right now. For some reason, though, I don't see Kevin-Stefanski and Andrew Berry looking to turn over a third of the roster like some previous Browns teams have done. Just listening to the coach yesterday at the Combine in Indianapolis, it seems that he thinks bad coaching had as much to do with what went wrong, along with the loss of Myles Garrett for the last 6 games of the season. I could be wrong, but we're going to know for sure when that draft rolls around. Dennis-Manoloff rolls around tonight. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine on a Wednesday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine into its 24th consecutive year. Seen right now exclusively on cleveland.com. Seen with us exclusively from WTAM Radio. That would be the D-Man, Dennis-Manoloff. Hello, D-Man.
Les, hello. It's a little too quiet. You know, we're used to so many things breaking in Cleveland sports.
Breaking news?
Well, give it 15 minutes, but it's like we're used to talking about stuff that has just happened, and right now it's quiet on all 3 fronts.
On the Western Front. How about that Cavalier come from behind win? I'll be honest, I turned it off after 3.
I did not, because I was doing the post-game show.
Yep.
On WTAM.
Did you see it coming?
I did not. I was talking to producer Anthony Alford when it was 99-80 after the end of the third, and I was like, this is another bad loss, headed to another bad loss at home. Great comeback. I really liked the fact that Bickerstaff went with the hot hands. In this case, he had Drummond and Sexton on the bench for the majority of the comeback. In the game that they won in Washington, Bickerstaff's first game, he went with the hot hands. I think he had Drummond and Love on the bench in the final quarter, maybe even Thompson too. So the fact that Bickerstaff's been willing to go with the hot guys down the stretch to win 2 games. By the way, his regime his era is off to a 2-1 start. Yeah.
Do you have any expectations at all? Is it whatever expectations? Is it wins? Is it improvement? What is it?
Les, I said this after they won the first game out of the break, Bickerstaff's first game as a Cavs coach, when they beat the Wizards in Washington. I said, I don't think there's any reason why they can't go 14-13 the rest of the way, meaning 15-13 after the break, including that Washington game.
Over 500.
And of course, some of my buddies lampooned me after they went down to Miami and got hammered, but they come back and they beat Miami. The reason I said it is because I think any team that has, and granted Drummond out tonight with a calf, but any team that has Drummond, Love, Thompson, Nance Jr., Sexton, Garland, Osman, and Kevin Porter Jr., that core of 8 should be a 500 team to me.
Good point. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at reallesslevine@gmail.com. Dennis Manoloff, the D-man, with us. All right, let's turn our attention to football. We're going to talk a lot of baseball also tonight. The Combine underway at Indianapolis. Not much happening last night, but Andrew Berry met with the media. So did Kevin-Stefanski. And Berry talked about Joe Schobert, who says he's earned the right to go test the market. When we've heard that before, that's basically saying, have a nice day. We'll see you at the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I would say I would put the odds at a little less than 50-50 that the Indians or that the Browns are going to retain him. I think he is going to want to test the waters. I'm not sure that the Browns' numbers are going to match up with his representation's numbers. Now, I did think, though, that the Dorsey regime was a little less enthused about Joe the Show than maybe the Berry regime would be, because it seemed to me, and I've mentioned this on shows before, that he's a darling of the analytics-based analysis of the game.
Correct.
That, even with that, though, I think there's a better than 50-50 chance that Schobert goes.
Well, the last guy that tested the market was a previous administration, but that was Mitchell Schwartz. He wanted to come back, and they didn't want any part of him. That was, I think Andrew Berry was here at the time.
That's a great question, whether Berry was here or what his role was, but you're right. The Schwartz situation was messed up, and it cost the Browns dearly.
All right, should the Browns consider franchise tagging Joe Schobert?
I suppose, but I doubt that they're going to even want to meet that number if they decide that they can move on from him. So I doubt that he's going to be franchise tagged.
All right, here's the world of Joe Schobert. Should they franchise him? The Browns can franchise tag Schobert as early as Thursday, February 27th. That's tomorrow. It would cost the Browns a little over $16 million. Schobert would be a free agent next offseason. 133 tackles, 4 INTs, 7 tackles for losses, all in 2019. Career highs in both INTs and tackles for losses. So he had a good year.
Yes, he did at the right time, for his market value. And my sense is, again, no sourcing, just gut, and what I've read and heard, that those two sides are going to be a little too far apart.
All right. Did you hear anything from either Berry or Stefanski yesterday that changed your mind about something?
No.
They were on the same page.
Yeah, and I mean, I love the combine. Okay, I love to watch the combine. I listen to what comes out of the combine, but the reality is they're not saying anything. They're maybe dropping a hint here or there about a player such as Schobert, but they're not really saying. I mean, I did listen to Stefanski and I listened to Berry since they've been in Indy, and nothing they've said makes me go, wow.
No, but they've been trained behind the scenes to say basically the same thing. You see, there's code words that they use, that both of them use. So they had been discussed.
Sure, and I will believe them though when they say that a lot hasn't been decided. They have to see about how certain things go before
They haven't even met some of these players.
Sure. It's a very, I think most of the quoted material that comes out of Indianapolis for Combine Week or Double Week is vanilla.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. We're talking baseball and football tonight. The Combine at Indianapolis and the Indians starting to get into the thick of things as far as exhibition season is going. Did you know the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in winnings over the last 6 months? People are winning in record numbers, and winning is happening all around the state of Ohio. Play an Ohio Lottery game and play it today. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. Chase Daniel, you heard of him?
Yes, I have.
You going to see him in an orange helmet, do you think?
We'll see. That's the report, I believe, coming from Jason LaConfora, that the Browns would consider it. At the very least, I don't know who it would be, but to me there needs to be an upgrade on Drew Stanton, as a backup.
Right, backup and mentor.
Yeah, right. A guy who would come in but actually could play better than a Drew Stanton could.
All right, Dennis-Manoloff with us. We'll take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. More sports and Les-Levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It's just something that I don't think we need to make a decision on right this moment here in February, but I think it's in fairness to AVP, I think I need to give him some opportunities to call it in practice, call it in the preseason, so that I can get comfortable with him calling it, or I can get comfortable with me calling it. But that's definitely a fluid situation, and Alex understands that completely.
There you have it.
Yeah. Let me give a little piece of advice,
Yeah.
a 25-cent piece of advice to Mr. Stefanski. Offload the play calling in your first year as head coach, all right? You got the job. You got the guaranteed money coming from Haslam's for however many years.
5, I think.
5, is it? Yeah, well, right. I mean, you've got guaranteed money. Let somebody else, specifically Van-Pelt, call the plays the first year. Go ahead and be the overseer of the franchise. Don't worry about anybody gunning for your job. Don't worry about the fact that you were hired in part because you're a smart play caller. Remember, Coach Stefanski, you have the veto power over any play call, all right?
And
so if you don't like a 3rd and 4 running play, go ahead and veto it.
Or say, take it up with DePodesta.
Just don't go down the path of Kitchens, which was obstinate, and I'm not going to,
Well,
I'm not going to take anybody's advice.
I'll tell you what I think that was. That was an ego situation where
Yes.
he wanted to prove how good he could be, and you're absolutely right. Go prove. Let somebody else prove it. You go coach the whole team.
Coach Stefanski's in his first year as a head coach.
Right.
He's going to have plenty to occupy his mind. Go ahead and be a floater and be an overseer and let other guys go ahead and delegate. Because here's the thing, Les. We said this even middle of the season when it was clear that Kitchens was drowning and he was the only one who knew that he was, said that he wasn't. Coach after coach after coach who've been down this road say that one of their biggest regrets was not offloading play calling when they first started.
Right, exactly. All right, so Baker Mayfield, everybody knows about the picture that was posted, his vacation that was in the Caribbean with a bunch of other players there. He's on the far left and doesn't look toned right now, right?
It
Needs a
almost
little
looks
work.
photoshopped, doesn't it?
Almost. Put some big guys there next to him. Anyway, he vows to get slimmer and faster next season. I wonder who told him that.
I mean, only he knows what good shape feels like. Because not everybody has to be chiseled.
Correct.
To be an exceptional athlete. But only Mayfield knows what it feels like and what getting through a 16. In other words, a guy of his height or lack thereof, I mean, relative to some of his peers, you don't want him to be rail thin. You don't want him to be super. You need actually some layer to absorb the hits.
And a better base.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct.
But it doesn't mean you want to be rolling out there out of shape.
No, and it's not a case where he has to run the 100 in a 9.4 either.
Exactly. But he'll know. He knows if he was in good enough shape last year. We think he wasn't, but he knows. So if he says he needs to get in better shape, then he does.
All right, we mentioned Chase Daniel before the break, and Baker's not been hurt yet, so he hasn't lost any playing time once he was given the starting assignment 2 seasons ago. But what do you think about Chase Daniels? Also, Marcus Mariota is a name that pops up.
Yeah, I'd be more comfortable, I said it before the break, I'd be more comfortable with a guy like Daniel or a guy like Mariota than I would a Drew Stanton. Just because I think they're better players. And I'm not saying you push for Baker's job, but you at least give him some legitimate backup.
All right, so he played with the Saints for 3 seasons, played with the Chiefs for 3, the Eagles for 1, and the Chicago Bears last year and the year before. Last year, he was 45 of 64 in for Mitchell Trubisky, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in 3 games with the Bears last season. But talk about, I mean, you're talking about a mentor, or are you talking about a guy who will challenge for the starting position?
No, he's not going to challenge. And here's the thing. Nor would I want the Browns to bring in a guy to challenge. Now, having said that, if Mariota is your choice, I would think Mariota at his age, I still think he's 26, 27, something in there.
He's started an awful lot of games.
He's not going to necessarily want to sign up for, okay, you're understood to be the backup. You're not going to be, even if you have a lights out camp and if you're an amazing practice player, you're not going to be the number 1 guy. It's going to be Mayfield. He would have a more difficult time accepting that, I would think, than a Chase Daniel would be.
No, but he might be able to look at Baker-Mayfield and say, well, if I just keep my nose clean here, I can eventually take over the starting position.
Yeah,
I hope that doesn't happen if you're a Browns
We
fan.
in Cleveland hope Mayfield is a franchise quarterback, the one we thought we were getting with the number 1 overall pick, the one who looked so good in the second half of 2018. But I will say this, Les. It's an enormous year for Baker Mayfield. Year 3 is enormous because think, if he is so-so next season, that's 2 seasons in a row, and he's coming up on the all-important 4th year. So he's got to play well.
And a new administration and coaching staff.
And a new administration that might not be in love with him by the end of the season. And by the way, another thing, Les, and it's kind of scary to think this, the Browns need to win some games next year.
Sure.
They can't just say, well, it's a new regime. It's, Stefanski's got to learn. We all got to learn. Give us 3, 4, 5 years. Because imagine this. What if you go 5-11 next season, and you're coming off a 6-10 with Kitchens, and he was fired? You mean to tell me that new regime's not going to be feeling the heat in 2021?
No, of course they are.
And then all of a sudden you're doing that dance all over again.
Maybe some other coaching staffs will have more of a leeway to get away with it. But the Browns have put themselves so far behind based on the last couple of years that they can't afford too much of a honeymoon period.
Exactly. I don't think there is. And it's not just for Stefanski. I think it's for Barry DePodesta Stefanski, that alignment.
Yeah. No, the money is there, but they don't care about that money. They want the money coming every year for 5 years, I would think.
Right.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Dennis-Manoloff is with us. You can email during the show at reallesLevine@gmail.com. It's Les Levine for Northeast Factory Direct. I've been talking about Alex for about 6 months by now. You've seen him on TV. He started this thing out of his basement 20 years ago, saving people a lot of money on one dining room set. Now he's helping people save a ton of money on high-quality name-brand furniture, top-notch kitchen cabinets and countertops, industry-leading hot tubs, and more. Now they've got the best price guarantee. You'll have to check it out. I've been saying Northeast prices can't be beat. Now it's guaranteed. If you buy furniture or hot tubs from Northeast and within a year you find it advertised for less, Alex will just refund you the difference. It's not a gimmick. There are some terms and conditions, however, so go to northeastfactorydirect.com for more information. We'll take a break. We'll come on back. We'll take a look at some of the best Buckeyes available and more. You're going to be surprised at some of the lineups we break out here for the Cleveland Indians. More Sports and Les Levine continues with Dennis-Manoloff on cleveland.com.
Celebrate Naturestone's 30-year anniversary with a free Naturestone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making Naturestone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's Naturestone.
Got your Ohio lottery pick 3, I see.
Yup. Those glasses are hip.
Hip? Most people think I'm a square. But what's wrong with that? A box bet can increase your chances of winning. And what is a box? A square. There are so many ways to play. There's coming out the wazoo. Oh, shucks. Look at me yammering on. Put a lid in it, Picky Ricky. Play the Ohio lottery pick 3 today.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Birthdays for today. Preacher Rowe, the pitcher for the Brooklyn Dodgers, born in 1916. And there's Bingo. Look at Bingo in the traditional Cavaliers uniform. Bingo Smith, 1946. Ella Funt, 1947. Alonzo Highsmith just took a job with Seattle. Marshall Falk and Dontrell Hilliard, all born on the 26th of February, the shortest month of the year. Time for a How Come Quickie. How come we can get to the moon and back, D-Man, but it's nearly impossible to find a parking space downtown?
And we, those who have been to big cities all over the country would say Cleveland's one of the more favorable when it comes to that, actually.
You know, I want to say 1989, I did a show on WTAM. It might have been 3WE at the time, the post-game show, Indians 10th inning. First day I did it, my car got stolen.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
But I had a good parking space. So I had that going for me.
My college buddy in Chicago, when I visited him about 10 years ago, it took me 30 minutes to park. I just drove around.
At 50 bucks,
he was
50
in
bucks
Chicago.
an hour.
Yeah, I mean, he was in Chicago proper. He lives in Chicago proper, so I'm driving all around trying to find a spot to park just so I could visit my buddy.
Yeah, what a great city that is, however. All right, yes. I've always said if in doubt during draft time, take the best Buckeye available. You generally agree with that?
Steelers do that.
Steelers
or
do
so
that.
It seems.
I can't remember the last time the Browns, Ward, but prior to that, it's been a long, long time. All right, a couple of Buckeyes might impact the Browns. Let's take a look first at Malik-Harrison, linebacker, 6'3", 240, 75 tackles, 16.5 for loss, 3.5 sacks in 2019. First team All-Big Ten in 2019. Let's continue on, see what we have. Here's a guy who had a better year his junior year than he did his senior year. Wide receiver KJ Hill, 6 foot even, 195, 57 catches last year, 10 for touchdowns in 2019, and 50 career games for Ohio State, the most receptions in Ohio State history. That's pretty impressive right there. How about Jordan Fuller? Jordan Fuller is a safety. The Browns apparently looking for safeties. 62 tackles, couple of INTs, 4 passes defended in 2019. First team All-Big Ten in 2019. They just churn them out, don't they?
Yeah, and you're, of course, saying that Young and Okudah are no shots. And that makes sense because they're going to go in the top 5. I don't know about a receiver, Les, because
you can find those guys.
All the indications are that this regime is willing to try Landry and Beckham one more time. And if that's the case, there's only so many balls to go around. You've already got Chubb, potentially Hunt as well in your backfield. And we know that Stefanski likes his tight end. So how many balls are there to go around to satisfy receivers? So I think receivers is low on their list because they have Landry and Beckham.
Do you agree with me that when they came in, and I'm talking about Barry and Stefanski and
Yes.
the position coaches, when they came in and looked at the film over and over and over again, that they found that they had a better foundation than they might have thought they'd have?
Yeah, I think. I mean, they probably looked at the offensive line and said it's as bad as we thought it was.
As advertised.
But then again, they might have looked at Baker and said, you know what, he's been shaky here. He's made his line look worse than it actually is, which...
Or they've made him look worse.
Yeah, but I'm also saying that a quarterback is not always blameless in that equation.
Correct.
You know, I'm sure they've got issues with every position group, but...
No, but they can't tell arm strength from the film.
What, Baker?
And the coaches can tell what they've got in Baker from an arm strength position.
Sure, they can, and
decision making might be different.
I think that if they watched what we saw, independently of, they said, okay, we're just Martians dropping down in Berea and going to watch this, pretend like we don't know anything about anything. They saw a quarterback who had a rough season, no doubt, whose confidence was shaken, regardless of what he said publicly.
Yeah, of course.
Who was inaccurate, and I would say shockingly so, because that was one of his hallmarks coming out of Oklahoma, and we saw it in full bloom in 18. He was so accurate. He was putting the ball exactly where it needed to be.
Right.
In 19, not only was he inaccurate, he was missing by a lot.
Okay, but now take a look
certain
at
throws.
He had one coach the first year in Hugh Jackson. Then he comes up with two in the second year. This will be his fourth in 3 years.
It's never a prescription for a healthy
Continuity.
quarterback play.
No.
But, if I'm Stefanski and I realize, look, the previous regime drafted him, but he is number one overall. He was number one overall, and he's only going into his third season. I'm going to give him a fair shake.
But he's got to win.
But I think that the pressure's on him from the jump in 2020.
You can explore your interests and find a program from Tri-C that puts you onto a bright future. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu for more information. We're going to take you back to 2016, when the Indians came so close to beating the Chicago Cubs for the World Series title. We'll take you back to that and much more. Dennis-Manoloff with us. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
If a piston makes it go, it's in this show. March Motor Mania takes over the 2020 Summit Racing Equipment IX piston-powered Autorama. March 13th, 14th, and 15th at the IX Center. Show cars, antique trucks, construction equipment, hot rods in the asylum, motorcycles, military vehicles, and themed car clubs. New for 2020, the Throwdown Monster Trucks and the return of Fat Man's Invasion. With Euros, imports, sport compacts, and lowriders. Kids 12 and under are free. PistonPowerShow.com for details. Discount tickets on sale at Discount Drug Mart locations and Summit Racing Equipment in Talmadge.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students, kindergarten through 12th grade, can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
Well, this portion of More Sports and Les-Levine brought to you by our friends at Northeast Factory Direct. This day in history, 1935, the New York Yankees released the Babe and the Boston Braves pick him up. The Yankees were then ruthless. When the Mick retired in the 60s, they were dismantled.
Phenomenal stuff. Speaking of dates, we are the 100th anniversary celebration of the Indians World Championship team in 1920.
Yeah.
That's kind of neat.
A lot of things
the
happened in 1920. Yeah.
1920 title.
Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Jim. Jim's in University Heights. Hi, Jim.
Hey, Les. How you doing?
I'm well. How about you?
I'm doing good. I want to throw a few comments on Schobert. but I want to tell the D-man, congratulations on Rant of the Year for that tirade on the baseball commissioner, Manfred, or whatever his name is, that
Rob
you had
Manfred.
like a week or two ago.
It was a beauty.
Poinsy always has Rant of the Year, though. I'll gladly come in second. But at least Manfred apologized in the wake of that rant.
Because of the medal that he took?
Oh, did he? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. But I still like the way you were just busting him up, on Les's show. But I wanted to talk about Schobert, and I guess the Browns might be kind of saying goodbye to him anyway. But the thing with him, and it's what I thought for a couple of years, is he just isn't big enough for a middle linebacker, And if
I think he's a analytics dream, though.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Maybe not
Here's
for
an
that kind of
analytics
money.
Dream, you remember the game against the Patriots? They were like on our 10-yard line. They get the ball to Edelman. It was one-on-one. Schobert versus Edelman. Schobert bounces off of him. Couldn't even come close to tackling
Well, do you
him.
think that's the first time that's ever happened?
No, because he's not a great tackler.
No,
Either
I'm talking about
Kirk
Edelman
Heath-
bouncing off people.
No, well, Edelman's tough. I can't disagree with that. But if you're a middle linebacker, you got to be able to handle guys like that. Are you going to be able to handle like Mixon from Cincinnati, or how about Baltimore, who's had?
So if you get rid of him, if you get rid of him, who are you going to put there?
Well, that's right. When you have someone who isn't good enough, you find someone who is. Yeah, I'm thinking of a big Chicago Bear linebacker or a New York Giant. Someone you got to have someone big there. He's not a middle linebacker. And sometimes he makes a good play and like an interception or fumble recovery. And that's great. But when it comes down to it, you got the middle of the defense. And this is what Belichick used to say.
All right, Jim.
You build your defense from the center.
Yeah, thanks, Jim, for the
call,
call.
Jim.
Hey, listen, I appreciate the compliment he had about the rant on Manfred, but I'm going to respectfully disagree with Jim a little bit. I mean, it's not the old days where the middle linebacker has to be a hulking, 6'4",
It's not that way anymore.
250. But I think ultimately Schobert's valuation of himself is going to be a little higher than what the Browns say.
All right, let's take a look. Let's go back in the time machine, the baseball time machine, to 2016. Indians go to Game 7 against the Cubs.
Yes.
Don't look at those. I'm going to ask you a question or two. Don't look at that lineup. Who do you think was the third baseman on opening day?
I was going to say Uribe, and I knew Uribe and Cowgill were in that lineup.
Colin Cowgill was in right
I remember
field.
Colin Cowgill. I was like, you got to be kidding me that he's going to be in the opening day.
That was the
my
opening.
eyes are closed right now.
All right, now you can open them.
Anybody else that I missed out on?
Opening day lineup was Rajai Davis.
Marlon Byrd completely slipped my mind.
Jason
PEDs.
Kipnis.
He got popped for
Francisco
PEDs.
Lindor batted third that year, at least in the beginning. Mike Napoli, party there. And Carlos Santana, Yan Gomes, Marlon Byrd. Look at that bottom third of a team that went to Game 7. If I showed you that lineup, would you say there's any chance to get to Game 7?
No, because, as we know, it evolved.
It did
I'll
evolve.
never forget Uribe getting drilled in the privates. I believe Trout hit it, but I mean it was scary. Remember he was down for so long in the fetal position.
Let's take a look at 2017. See, D-Man says it evolved. Let's see how much it evolved. Now you had Carlos Santana leading off. You want to see him lead off this year?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a little teaser.
A little teaser.
Little teaser.
Francisco Lindor batting second. Michael Brantley, Edwin Encarnacion.
I like that front five
Jose
for sure.
Ramirez, Yan Gomes, Tyler Naquin, and Yandy Diaz. Wish we still had
Dishonest Abe Almonte. All right. Yeah. Who will ever forget Dishonest Abe?
That's 2017. Let's go to 2018, see what we have. Lindor, Kipnis, Ramirez, Yonder Alonso batting fourth. Edwin Encarnacion, Lonnie Chisenhall.
Yes,
he
your
just
buddy.
announced his retirement. He made $19 million as a major league player.
Your buddy Chisenhall.
Wow.
I was wondering what you were feeling
I feel good for
when you
everybody.
got the news that your buddy Chisenhall had retired.
Good for him. Spend time with his family.
Yep.
$19 million the guy made.
Gomer, Naquin, Zim, whatever happened to
Casey
Zim.
Blake made $50 million as a major league player.
You serious?
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah,
Zim? Remember
yeah,
how
of
Zim
course.
just came
Bradley
when he
Zimmer.
broke in his first, what,
He looked
5
like,
or 6
to
weeks?
me, he looked like a power hitter, but he had as much speed as anybody in
He
baseball.
was so good right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And then just fell off the map.
All right, let's go
And
to
then got hurt.
2019, which is last year. See what we had here. Look at that.
Leonis Martin.
Leonis Martin.
Back from his, near death.
Near death.
In 18, yeah.
Jose Ramirez, Tyler Naquin, Carlos Santana, Hanley
The
Ramirez,
Hanley man.
Jake Bowers, Roberto Perez, Brad. I would have never gotten these, and that's just last year. Brad Miller and Eric Stamets.
Yeah, our buddy Rhoda called Eric Stamets John Stamos. Brad Miller with the no batting gloves. Remember, he was grinding that he was kept down, or he sent down because Kipnis was healthy.
All right, now you have made up your own opening day lineup that you think would be when you made it up, not necessarily what the Indians are going to do.
Correct.
Right?
This is what I would do if I were the Indians.
All right, go ahead.
You got Lindor at short leading off. He's the most dynamic bat in your lineup. I want to see him as many times as I can. Now, the caveat to this is, and it's a huge one, I don't think Lindor wants to be the leadoff man. I think he wants to be in the 3-hole, and if he wants to be in the 3-hole, that's where he's going to end up.
Why is that?
I'm not saying this is how it's going to be on opening day.
Is that for free agent numbers that we put
Well,
up?
I mean, the 3-hole is generally regarded as your best hitter, and even in today's game, I still think that holds. So I've got Lindor leading off because I want max ABs for him, plate appearances for him. Mercado batting second in center field. I love Mercado. I love his ceiling. But the reality is last year, I think the on base was only 316. So I don't want to pressure him to get on base a lot right at the top. You got double speed up there at the top and some power with Lindor and some pop with Mercado. Then you go Carlos, Franmil, and Hosey, Domingo, Santana, Luplow in left batting seventh. Luplow, especially if the Tigers are going to start Matt Boyd, a left-hander, as their opening day starter. If they don't start Matt Boyd, if it's actually like a Jordan Zimmerman, a right-hander, then maybe Luplow is out as part of a platoon. But I'm putting him in to start. And then Roberto, I want that second leadoff man, Cesar Hernandez, so he doesn't. You don't clog the base paths for Frankie Lindor.
That's a good point you made. I chose not to go that route. Let's take a look at what I said it should be. Carlos Santana leading off. Believe it or not, I want him back at the leadoff position.
Why not? He's close to 400 on base career.
He walks a million times. Oscar Mercado second, Lindor third, Reyes fourth, followed by Jose Ramirez, who's got to have the same two halves this year. Domingo Santana, Cesar Hernandez, Jordan Luplow, and Roberto Perez, who, by the way, by all accounts, had a phenomenal year last year.
Keep that up, Brian and John, because this is you're doing something with your lineup that Frank Kona always talks about wanting to do, which is break up the switch hitters. He doesn't like to stack them.
He's got six switch hitters.
You have switch, right, switch, right, switch, right, switch, right, right. So you've broken up all four of your switch hitters.
And if I counted it right, and who knows what that'll be with the new pitching rule, about 3 batters. That may come into play also. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Northeast Factory Direct. I've been talking about them for quite a while right now. There you see the 3 great locations plus the website. You've been hearing me rave about Northeast for a while now. Many of you have been there and you know the drill. If not, what are you waiting for? High-quality name-brand furniture and hot tubs for about half the price that the fancy retail stores charge. Let's talk about kitchen cabinets. Unless you've done a kitchen remodel lately, it's probably outdated in your home. You've seen some of the nice cabinets your friends have and neighbors. Well, you know the ones with the full extension drawer glides, the cushioned closed drawers and doors, and you may have thought that that was out of your price range, but if you're shopping at Northeast Factory Direct, you can get those same cabinets for so much less. Check them out, northeastfactorydirect.com, and the 3 great locations, east, west, and north. When we come back, we'll take a look at the Facebook question of the day. The question I have for you is, why haven't you been to Sokolowski's University Inn? It's been there since 1923. Mike and Bernie's grandparents started the whole thing. They won the James Beard Foundation Award 3 or 4 years ago. Only 5 in the country get it each and every year, and they are the only ones from the city of Cleveland that has ever won that prestigious award. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. We'll come back with our Facebook question of the day and more. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Get Nature Stone and never replace your basement flooring again. Your concrete is uneven, damp, and not healthy. Carpet and tile don't last, breed mold and mildew, and give worthless warranties. Nature Stone permanently corrects uneven concrete and is not affected by dampness or moisture. And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, there are no hidden maintenance costs. Act now and save up to 50% with our volume discount pricing. Must be installed by the end of February. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Let's take a look at this data in Les-Levine history. How come this is just recent? Les never thought he would hate a team as much as the New York Yankees, but the Houston Astros are getting close. How about you?
I mean, I really dislike that organization. I'll say this, Les, and certain players on that roster. I sure hope Michael Brantley wasn't caught up in all this, because Michael Brantley was a really good player, a really good hitter before he arrived
Dr. Smooth.
in Houston. So I hope for his sake that he declined the opportunity to engage in those shenanigans, but I don't know for sure.
Let's check out our Facebook question of the day, then we'll get to the phones. Aside from the offensive line, what do you consider to be the biggest need for the Browns in the draft? Edward Wager says defensive backs. Dennis Davis, a linebacker who can tackle. Rick May, linebacker, should be high priority. An additional edge rusher to complement Garrett, and another safety would be welcome. Ted Moon says the defensive line, which is a supposed strength, last year ended up as a huge disappointment, even without the Garrett melee. Glenn Berger needs some help on defense, safety position, defensive line, and linebackers. That's only 9 of the, facetiously said, 9 of the 11 defensive positions. Michael Cirola wants new ownership, which sadly is not available in this or any other draft. How'd you like to be able to draft an owner? Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Willoughby for Darius. Darius, good evening.
Hi, Les. It's a dream of mine to come on the show. I really wanted to talk about the Browns, their needs in the draft, things like
Darius,
that.
You have to aspire. You have to aspire to higher things than that, but I appreciate it very much.
I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff. I mean, the coaching change, it's just clean house. So, us sitting at number 10, I mean, the most common pick that I see in all these mock drafts, I know you're not really a big fan of mock drafts, it's Tristan Wirfs, but I mean, if I'm getting that correct. But my question for you is, would you take Isaiah Simmons if he's not taken already?
Did you take Simmons that high?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, I think that you can't go wrong at 10, especially when you have a pressing need at tackle.
Don't you think if you're debating it on that the analytics people will say trade it down and get more picks?
I mean, yeah, seeing that Andrew Berry was was here with the analytics-driven regime under,
Paul
Hugh
DePodesta.
Jackson and all of that. And,
Yeah.
And that entire regime was just based on analytics, and they were Sashi Brown. They were just acquiring picks and things like that. But yeah, I mean, at this point, you know, there is like a couple things that you could do. I mean, we just cut those other guys. We could trade a few guys. There's a lot of things that we could do to make sure that we get a guy like if Joe Schobert doesn't resign.
Darius, as time goes on, this whole map is going to change a little bit between free agency and the draft, and we'll see. But thank you so much for being part of the show.
Thanks,
we appreciate
Darius.
it very much.
Thank you. Have an amazing day.
Awesome.
I've had an amazing day already.
Yeah, and Darius just made it that much better.
I'm here. How much more amazing can you be?
Listen, Wirfs at 10 sounds great to me. The tackle depth in this draft is supposed to be outstanding. So I don't think you can go wrong if you stayed put and drafted a tackle.
We do this show live from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you can't reach us on the phone during that time, you can call us anytime and leave the voicemail of truth and reason. It's 216-200-6650. Call anytime. There's other 23 hours a day other than 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and we'll use those messages on a future show. We're going to take a break with the D-Man Dennis-Manoloff. I believe we'll have a How Come Quickie or 20. When we get back, More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Get Nature's Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Your concrete is cracked, uneven, and not safe. Paints and poly coatings don't last, are slippery, and give worthless warranties. Nature's Stone permanently corrects cracked, uneven concrete, eliminates slipping hazards, and is easy to clean. And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, there are no hidden maintenance costs. Act now and save up to 50% with our volume discount pricing. Must be installed by the end of February. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
If a piston makes it go, it's in this show. March Motor Mania takes over the 2020 Summit Racing Equipment IX Piston-Powered Autorama. March 13th, 14th, and 15th at the IX Center. Show cars, antique trucks, construction equipment, hot rods in the asylum, motorcycles, military vehicles, and themed car clubs. New for 2020, the Throwdown Monster Trucks, and the return of Fat Man's Invasion. With Euros, imports, sport compacts, and lowriders. Kids 12 and under are free. PistonPowerShow.com for details. Discount tickets on sale at Discount Drug Mart locations and Summit Racing Equipment in Talmadge.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow night, Jim Ingram will join us. Very funny guy and a terrific writer. You can see him when we do the show live from 6 until 7, Monday through Friday, Eastern Time. And the rest of the time, you can archive us. We get a lot of people watching at all hours of the day and night. You can also go to facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. Tom Randazzo writes in D-Man, he says, the loss of Schobert would hurt. It becomes another hole to fill, along with the holes on the offensive line. We also have a possible hole at left defensive end, plus a safety. Dorsey's pursuit of OBJ is starting to show up. You agree or disagree?
Agree. I'm disappointed in what I've seen from OBJ so far, but, he did get over 1,000 yards in his first year as a Brown. And
knew it when he got it.
Yeah, he's made sure everybody knew, but he was playing hurt. You give him that. You hope he comes back 100% in 2020.
216-575-0403 if you'd like to get in before the final buzzer here tonight. Stewart is a fairly new quickie contributor.
All right.
But he gets it. He sends in a couple of quickie classics. Ready? How come in the military the privates park in general parking while the generals park in private parking? It's almost
That's
park
good.
in a driveway, drive in a parkway.
That's a good one.
How come the doctor says this cut is no laughing matter? You left me in stitches. Here's one from Big Ed. And Big Ed, I know I can't do number one here.
Let me see it.
I can't. Well, don't rate it. Don't show it. Number one, you know I can't do it. Am I right?
Oh, dear. Say it ain't so.
Yeah, let's try to stay away from that topic. How come one of these days they'll make a movie, Star Wars 12, Luke needs a walker? All right, that's on the edge. Mitch from Kent. Hey, Les. Hey, D-Man. It's Mitch from Kent. How come there are no lifeguards at the gene pool? How come the first Roman chariot daredevil was not known as Medieval Knievel?
That's good.
How come if you boil a funny bone, it makes a great laughing stock? Little soup action.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. Mr. Gullible.
Gullible.
How come the magician was driving down the road and turned into a store? How come my take-home pay won't even take me home? Well, yeah. Everybody's got that problem. John Patrick finishes it off. How come Mr. Rogers didn't prepare me for what goes on in my neighborhood?
Good.
Good.
It's a good batch.
It is
overall,
a good batch.
Except for the one that was a little.
The one we can't use.
out
And
of
he
bounds.
knows it. Listen, he's not upset. He tried to sneak it by our censors. And then I realized I'm our censor.
Brian had flagged it first, and then we saw it.
You know, Brian, if you think it's questionable, just don't send it out to me so I don't accidentally make the mistake.
He was testing us.
You know, sometimes I read them as I go. And if I read that one, I would go, I can tell you that. All right, what do you got on your mind? It seems to me, I've said this a couple of times this week, the Combine seems to have just crept up on us and jumped in there, and I think that's because of the long search for a coach and general manager.
Yes, I hear you. But, you know, look, I love the NFL because it is a 12-month operation. You have the Combine, then you have free agency, then you have the draft. You got rookie minis, then I mean, it's just wonderful to see the NFL out there all the time. And I love the Combine. It's primetime drills now, so we get to see a lot of fun stuff.
You read something to me before the show. Is Aaron Rodgers talking about the new bargaining agreement that they're trying to get? What did he say, basically?
Well, he said that he disagreed with. He voted no on the proposal from the owners. He said that he, as a player rep for the Packers, took the temperature of his locker room, and they said no. And one of his tenets, one of the points he was making in his little, I don't know what, some kind of social media, but it showed up in Twitter, where he was saying, it might have been an Instagram post or whatever, but he said this 16-game season, he said that was never even a thought
the
for the players he knew.
Just popped in there? They didn't know about it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'd heard the noise from the owners, but they were like, that's a non-starter with us. We don't want to play 17 games.
And all the extra games they're putting out overseas, trying to get that even more.
And the players, we as fans want 50 games in an NFL season. I mean, we can't get enough NFL. But we're not the ones who are going into an organized car wreck for 3 hours every Sunday or Saturday or Friday or Thursday or Monday. They're the ones who are putting their bodies and their minds on the line every week. So if they say that 16 games is too much, then we should listen to them, even though I want to see 17. And by the way, it's disingenuous for the owners to say, oh, we're adding only one game, but we're taking away the preseason to balance it out. Players are like, that's not a balance out.
No, and the other thing is, most fans think the players make too much money anyway, and they usually side with the owners in this case because the players come and go for the most part. But it seems to me that 17 games just doesn't make any sense in any way, shape, or form to me. and they just popped it in there before they had some discussion on it.
Well, you knew that Goodell had wanted this. Yeah, he's wanted 17 for a long time. And I think it's going to be hard for the owners to go back to the table and take that off. Because they're dug. I want to say they're dug in on the 17, where the players are going to dig in on 16. So it's fascinating, that dynamic. But Roger's overarching point was not enough built-in safety measures for our bodies and our minds over the course of a full season and the rest and whatnot. We need more rest.
Right.
And I know that John Q. Public complains about it, but again, we're not the ones getting crushed and having our heads hammered into the ground with a little helmet on.
Right. Well, here's the other thing. Everybody says, well, they'll just write a check and everybody will be happy with that. What they don't know is the size of that check. For example, we have these commercials on for Presque Isle where you can bet at the kiosk on sporting events. That number isn't even closely taken care of in this upcoming agreement. In other words, they say, well, you'll get X percent. Well, you don't know what that X percent is going to be because it could be huge or maybe it won't be.
That's a great point. And, also getting back to the player safety, if NFL players were convinced that they were playing a sport that didn't jeopardize them, then they would want to play 25 or 30 games. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
But they know
what happens after 16.
They experience it. Yeah. They know the evidence is right in front of their faces.
Well, the other thing, D-Man, if you have a quarterback who gets hurt in week 3 and he's done, you made it 17 games, that's a season that just goes on forever.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, any final comments before we go on any topic?
I can't wait for the Indians season to start. I've said it on previous shows. I'll say it again. I think they're going to be competitive in the AL Central. They'll battle for the title. The Twins are legit, even though their pitching has issues. Now Cleveland's does with some of the injuries and the fact that Bauer's out of there and Kluber's out of there. And the White Sox, to me, are finally going to arrive this year. So 3-team race in the Central.
You think it'll take it 90 to win that division?
At least. Yeah,
at least
I do.
90.
And I think whoever fattens up the most on the Tigers and Royals is going to prevail. The Tigers kept the Indians in it for the longest time last year by was it 18-1?
Yeah, but they stayed out of it against Chicago. They were terrible against the White Sox.
Well, yeah, the White Sox beat them head-to-head, and I think the White Sox are coming into this season with a lot of confidence. They've added to their roster. They've added to their lineup. They still have question marks on the pitching side, but they did add Dallas Keuchel. So I'm looking forward to a 3-team race in the AL Central.
When are you next on WTAM?
Tonight, after Cavs post-game show, Tito's Nightcap Recap, I come on approximately 10:30 to midnight. Tomorrow night, full show, 7 to 11.
Excellent.
So we're busy.
Keep up the good work. All
Thank
right,
you,
that'll
sir.
do it for us. Jim Ingram, tomorrow night, we'll continue to talk Indians and Browns and Cavaliers. More sports and less Levine right here on cleveland.com. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.